The Jaguars went from good, blew right through bad, and went to embarrassing. I wonder if we can pick up a whole new team during the bye week.
Yeah, it was that kind of week. The Jaguars have now lost 2 games. Rough trip to London. The Duval dial-up was ringing off the hook. A lot of people real upset out there. Got Kyle hanging out with me tonight. Feels like we haven't had a Victory Monday in a lifetime at this point. We'll try and work through a lot of the problems that the Jaguars are having over the course of the show, but it's a lot of ground to cover, and luckily the Jaguars are going into their bye week, so they get a little bit more time to work on it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bye week. I'd rather it not be. I'd rather get this out, but we have plenty of time to diagnose all the bad that happened. So we'll see. We'll try to get through it. I know that much.
Honestly, I think Liam Cohen and the Jaguars probably wish they had a game, because it's one thing when you lose a game, it's like, all right, well, you got to flush it, right? And now you've lost 2, and now you got a whole week to sit on it. That's the hard thing about football, is you don't get to play another game for a week. So sometimes those losses, you got no choice but to kind of dwell in it. And now you got 2 really bad games. You're so hyped starting the season, 4-3, beat the Chiefs, Monday Night Football, blah, 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 blah. And then now you got a whole bye week that you really can't even enjoy because you've stank up the last 2 games. So now you got to kind of dwell in it and hope, well, on the other side, there's something bright that you can celebrate, right?
You are right. I do know one thing we can't do, and that's find a whole new team. So during the bye week, they're going to have to try to find a way to fix the issues that they have, and I think that they might. So we can start though. We can grade this last game a little bit and see where some of those mistakes came up, where the team went wrong.
All right, let's do it.
So let's start with the first one here. Let's go with the wide receivers as a whole, minus Travis Hunter. We'll grade him by himself a little later.
Wide receivers as a whole, minus Travis Hunter. Rough day at the office for the receivers, more than a few drops. I mean, we can go D+. I think there were a couple of nice plays along the way, but, I mean, overall, still way too many drops from the wide receiver group. I mean, just about all of them had a drop at some point or another during the game, where, like, at some point, this is an epidemic. It is a problem. The wide receiver group is just as at fault as anything else. We're going to talk more about Trevor a little bit later on in the show. So, yes, he is partially at fault for some of this. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But, look, overall, the wide receiver group does have to be better. You got to catch the football. That's the name of the game. I'll give him a D+, and that might be being generous.
That is probably being generous. That's a fair grade, though. Like you said, they did make some plays, didn't make enough plays. The problem is they're doing the little things wrong in the little moments, and that's also making them do the big things wrong in the big moments. So they got to find a way to fix that, because if you can't move the sticks, catch a ball on first down, catch a ball on third down, it's not helpful.
They got nothing to hang their hat on right now. I mean, you expected Brian Thomas Jr. to take this big next step. We talked about it. Oh, the wide receiver group might be the most talented group on the team. Well, they're not living up to it. So, look, BT has had problems this season. This is not the level of play that I think Liam Cohen or anybody expected from him. De'Ami Brown has been forgettable so far this year, not exactly what you expected from them. I mean, the only wide receiver you can say kind of has lived up to expectations is maybe Parker Washington. And at best, like, Parker was supposed to be your wide receiver 3.
You can't lean on him for a whole game to be that number one guy, though.
That's it. But I think Parker is maybe the only guy in that receiver group. I mean, maybe even Travis Hunter. I mean, outside of the one big game, I think Parker may be the only guy who's lived up to what you expected going in. So the wide receivers just got to be better. Just got to be better.
Okay, let's move over to special teams. We'll talk about the kicker, Cam Little.
I guess I'll give him a D+ too. I mean, he made the extra point. He missed the 50-yard kick. It's bad. At this point, look, Liam Cohen did say Cam Little is going to be this team's kicker on the other side of the bye week. He expressed his confidence in Cam Little and said that maybe a little bit of time away during the bye week would help him shake this, and he believed that Cam Little is going to make some big kicks for the Jaguars down the stretch. All right? I don't know if I fully believe the confidence part, because it's tough to believe in the guy right now, because it just doesn't seem like he can put it through the uprights. But to an extent, look, I'll give him a D+ on the game. Cam Little got to be better. I think there's enough blame to go around on this thing. But at some point, you got to figure out how to put this thing back through the uprights. I don't know what's gone wrong for Cam Little. and maybe it's just a mental block. You'd like to see him get a layup somewhere, maybe a little 30-yard kick, and then all of a sudden maybe it clicks back in. But right now, it's tough to have confidence in him because we've seen him continue to miss.
Yeah, and I agree. And also that affected how Coach Cohen was calling the game. He went for those 4th downs where he was in what we used to think was Cam Little range, but instead he went, I know they were down points, but still, some of those times you just take the points just to get on the board. They had 0 for such a long time in that game. It would have been nice if he trusted Cam Little to be able to just send him out there for some of those kicks.
You would think. You would think. So when you say you got confidence in a guy, but you won't send him out there to put points on the scoreboard, actions speak louder than words sometimes?
Yes, they do. All right, let's go to the defense now. They did give up 35 points. That's not great, but
okay.
Overall, the defense in your mind.
So for me, it's a tale of two halves when it comes to the defense. First half, I mean, you can go ahead and just put it on an F. You give up 21 points in the first quarter alone. First half was not great, but then they kind of figured it out a little bit, or you could say Sean McVay stepped off the gas. One way or another, they kind of played at least a solid game for the most part the rest of the way. I mean, I don't know if I want to go up to B, but I mean, at least a C. The rest of the way, pretty clean, able to keep the score at 21-0 for quite a while on that scoreboard. So I think the Jaguars' kind of defense started to figure it out. Again, similar enough to what the wide receiver conversation. You need Josh Hines-Allen, you need Trayvon Walker. Trayvon's still playing with the club, but you need your stars to play like stars. So when you start talking about, okay, where are the problems on the defense? It's like, okay, well, where do you hang your hat? This is a league where superstars make plays in big moments, and right now, those guys aren't the ones finishing plays. And when they are, then the Jaguars defense will get back on the right track.
Yeah, those two guys seemed somewhat non-existent. We barely heard their name called. They just weren't able to get there. Jordan Lewis, he didn't have his best game either. They did get some stops, and they probably would have been more magnified had, you know, the Jaguars scored after those, but since they didn't, it just seemed like they were just running in circles.
Josh is playing good ball. He's just not getting to the quarterback to finish. I mean, the pressures are there, but at some point you need the guy to start stacking some sacks.
You do, you do. All right, last one here. Let's go with Travis Hunter, maybe the one bright spot of the day.
Can we give him an A? Can I buy a vowel? Look, Travis played great. First 100-yard game as a receiver, first career touchdown. Liam Cohen said, speaking at his press conference today, he said that he was going to focus on finding ways to get the best 11 on the field on the other side of the bye week. Travis Hunter, here's the problem. He's in your best 11 on offense. He's in your best 11 on defense. I mean, he's pretty much shown he might be your best corner right now, at least your best cover corner, and arguably he's your most consistent receiver. There's a lot to learn for Travis, so that a lot of people talk about just throw him out there full-time both ways. Look, I'm kind of with you, but I think there's a feel thing that he still has a lot to learn at wide receiver, some of the nuances of the game, and you see it show up out there. That's why, trust me, if this coaching staff could just push him out the nest and say, go on, birdie, fly, they probably would at this point because you need somebody to make plays. But you can see it when you're watching close, some of the nuances of the game that he's still learning or still trying to figure out or feel his way through, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I think he has a little bit better feel on defense than he does on offense. So, yes, he was an A-plus kind of game, and I think he's made it pretty clear he's in your best 11 on offense and defense. But how do you make sure that you're not going to overwhelm this guy and just push him out of the nest and make sure he flies? You know, it's tough. I think there's still a lot to learn. He is a rookie. He was your number 2 overall pick, and you're not drafting him for what he is day one. When you draft a guy number 2, you're drafting him for the lifetime of the contract, saying that he's going to be a superstar maybe next year. You know, you don't want to just put all this weight on a rookie to day one have to carry the weight of your team on offense and defense. That's asking a bit much.
It is. No, it is. And I mean, hey, like you said, if they could just throw him out there and be like, he's our number 1 now, get him the ball, I think they would have. I think it's a little more complicated than that. But he did have a good game, scored his first touchdown. It was kind of a bummer we didn't get to see a dance, but
they were down on the scoreboard. It wasn't the time.
He was not about it. So that was somewhat good to see. So definitely got to get him involved. But overall, not a good report card for this week. So hopefully that changes coming out of the bye.
All right, we still got some time left here in Teal the Show. Coming up after this, we'll hear from one more fan, and we'll turn the conversation toward talking about Trevor Lawrence. We'll talk about T-Law, number 16, QB1, right after this quick break.
For a long time, since Trevor Lawrence been our quarterback, I've always defended him and always not made excuses, but, I've always defended him. But my thing is, I think what we ought to do, we ought to throw in our backup quarterback. Like, try to get in Trevor Lawrence's head, and just see what happens with our backup quarterback. And it might, it could be a good thing. It can't be no worse than what's going on. Because we need Trevor Lawrence to, catch up to speed. That's all I'm trying to say.
I love the sentiment. I love the call. Let me go ahead and tell you, the backup quarterback is always the most popular kid in class when things aren't going well. I'm going to tell you, it can be worse. We're talking about the second best quarterback in Jaguars franchise history, and his name ain't Nick Mullins. Let me go on ahead and tell you, it would get worse. So let's not talk about benching Trevor Lawrence for Nick Mullins.
Yeah, we love the call, KD, but I don't think it's time to play mind games. I think it's time. You want to strengthen the mind right now,
right?
And see what you can do. You have to somewhat protect it at this point.
Look, I think it's a delicate conversation when it comes to Trevor because he's a tough evaluate. Sometimes you see the perfect throws. He makes the difficult throws look easy sometimes, and then sometimes you see the layups and he misses it, right? So he's kind of a frustrating quarterback from that standpoint. I think he's doing some good things, but he's also doing some bad things, and he is very polarizing when it comes to this fan base. There are folks that are more patient, and then there are folks that are saying, look, we got to bench Trevor. It's time to move on. He's not the guy. Here's the thing. When you look around the league, a lot of these quarterbacks figure it out when they kind of move on. Look, Baker Mayfield had to bounce around a little bit. He figured it out. Jared Goff moved on. He figured it out. Daniel Jones is figuring it out right now with the Indianapolis Colts. They're calling him Indiana Jones. Like, who saw that coming? What you don't want is to jettison Trevor and let him go figure it out somewhere else because he has all of the physical gifts. Just right now, sometimes they don't always come together. Keep in mind, he's still in the first year of this brand new offense, though.
Yeah, that would be bad if he left and then became the quarterback that everyone wants him to be. So that would not be good. We did get to talk to Coach Cohen today, and you asked him about Trevor, and he's not putting the blame all on him, but he says that they definitely need to find a way to start the game better.
We've got to start faster. We have got to start faster as an offense at the quarterback position, not take a little bit of time to get into the flow. That's on us to also help. All right, hey, these are the exactly what we're thinking early on. Hey, these are the calls. These are the thoughts. This is the exact looks we're thinking about getting. How do we prepare better and continue to take advantage of our operation, trying to be an edge? I mean, we were better in and out of the huddle last week. We're better from that standpoint, but we've got to make the easy ones easy. And we've also, I thought he stood in there, took some shots too. We also got to, we can't take so many sacks either, from all 11 though. Sacks are all 11. It's the route, it's the quarterback, it's the running back, it's the OL. Those are things that we can control.
So, yeah, like you heard him there, they got to control what they can't control with Trevor. Just like you said, he makes the difficult throws look easy, but he also makes some of the easy throws look difficult. So they got to find a way to get all 11, as he would say, back on track.
Let me go ahead and tell you, coaches hate that. Coaches hate, if I give you a layup, make the layup. I mean, it's supposed to be like, give me those points. So when you miss some of those, it's frustrating. And then you see him make the highlight throw. You're like, don't throw it. And then he threads the freaking needle. That's the duality of Trevor at this point. We'll see if he can get it cleaned up. I think there's still time and there's still hope. Remember, it's still early in this maturation in the Liam Cohen offense. So we'll see. Jaguars have a bye week, so we'll be talking about the first half of the season as a whole on Friday night. I mean, there's a strong 4-3, and then there's a 4-3 where the Jaguars are at right now. Not as strong. But hey, we appreciate you spending some of your Monday night hanging out with us here on Teal. The show will be back here on Friday night at 11:20. Make sure you come and hang out with us every Monday and Friday night right here on Channel 4. Good night, everybody, and go Jags.